Hello guys, welcome back to IC Unfiltered. On today's episode, Nigeria is facing serious economic pressure. So why is President Bola Ahmed TINIBU in the UK right now? Is this trip about solution or something deeper? I guess we'll find out if we stay till the end of this video. President Bola Ahmed TINIBU visit to the UK has sparked a lot of conversation across Nigeria, considering the fact that there is inflation, subsidy removal, first subsidy removal, economic hardship, bomb blast. So many Nigerians are asking, why now? Even though some believe this visit is a strategic move that will fix the economy, while others think it's poorly timed and considering everything that is happening back at home. Let's see some of these videos together.
Point would be to congratulate Nigerians.
Congratulate?
Yes, Nigerians. This state visit, is not just an honor to Mr. President and the First Family, but to the entire Nigerians. You mentioned there that this is the visit that is taking place after 37 years. I think the last head of state that had a state visit to the United Kingdom was General Ibrahim Babangida. For United Kingdom to have invited our president on state visits, they must have been very, very confident in our reforms, in the governance under the leadership of the President Bola Ahmed TINIBU. They must be looking forward to so many things, and this will be anchored under sideline activities, bilateral meetings, MOU signing, and all that. You also talked about the £749 million investments coming into the maritime sector. You know, the fact remains that this kind of investment, you know, will have its linkages effects, which will snowball into employment. The participants in that sector will in turn, you know, make profit, pay their taxes, and of course, you know that public finance runs on taxation. So it is a good development, and there will be a lot of win. You don't need to travel to the UK if your country is working to go and sign agreements that could be signed by, you know, the councillor of a local government, or even the finance minister, or, you know, the minister in charge of investment. What I'm saying is that, you know, telling these stories over and over again is kind of tiresome. We heard them in 1989 when Babangida went there. Oh, he's going to sign agreements. We're going to buy tanks. As if you need to travel to the UK to buy tanks. And where are those tanks today? Where is the prosperity that was promised in 1989? So you are back in 2026, you know, to put on your Christmas dress and go and kneel before the king or queen just so that you can get investment. If you have it right, investors will come to your country. You don't need to travel. I'm not discountenancing the fact that, you know, you can have relationship with countries and have some of this fanfare. But what I dislike, you know, is the dishonesty around the fact that this is going to be the reason why Nigeria will prosper. No, it's not. These visits are no more than excursions, diplomatic excursions.
The videos you just watched are some of the things Nigerians has to say. There are still a lot of opinions from other people, but one thing is clear: Nigerians are not paying attention more than ever. But the real question is, what comes next for Nigeria after this visit?
Of mixed reactions to the sizable delegation of Nigerian governors and senators in London, all to welcome President Bola Ahmed TINIBU and First Lady Senator Oluremi TINIBU for their 2-day state visit with King Charles III and Queen Camilla. Now, the president's schedule today is packed, starting with a ceremonial welcome within the next 30 minutes or so. But it's what we saw yesterday that really set the tone for this trip. So as soon as the president's plane landed in London Stansted at around 3:18 p.m., he was received by a number of both British and Nigerian senior officials. But it's when the couple arrived at their hotel, the Fairmont, that Naija was fully in the house, as you can see in the video on your screens. There was a swarm of senators, governors, ministers, all decked in their hats, their sweaters, their scarves, all of them there to essentially welcome the president and the first lady. So I'll take some quick reactions. So Big Sman wrote on X, almost all APC governors and ministers traveled to the UK just to welcome President Tinubu. This even included the Minister of Defense. Yet some Nigerians are pointing out that they've never seen all of these leaders gathered together in one place to discuss or address Nigeria's worsening insecurity, the daily killings by bandits, terrorists, and kidnappers across the country. Another person on X wrote, I was telling a friend today that the same group of governors and ministers who waved him goodbye when he was leaving Nigeria would also travel to his destination to welcome him. The guy couldn't believe it. Meanwhile, we know that our London, UK diaspora also showed out with a video trending online of a group singing On Your Mandate to offer the president and first lady their own welcome as well. Let's watch.
Your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate we shall stand.
But as we talk about this state visit and its impact on diplomatic relations, a new video is being shared online offering a theory as to why we might be seeing this red carpet rollout, not just from our governors, but also from the UK itself. So in this clip, John Mersheimer, who's an American political scientist, states that British, American, and even Chinese interest in Nigeria has a lot to do with Nigeria's ability to harness its resources in energy. Let's watch.
Trump's warnings didn't appear out of thin air. They followed a series of choices by Nigeria that Washington found unacceptable. One key factor is Nigeria's expanding economic ties with China. This isn't minor trade. We're talking about massive infrastructure projects, railways, ports, refineries, telecom networks, that Nigerians had long requested from Western partners but never received on acceptable terms. When the West imposed conditions that would have compromised Nigeria's control over its economy, China offered an alternative, tangible development without demanding sovereignty. In short, they leveraged their position to secure long-term national benefits, rather than acting as a convenient energy supplier for Western needs. This is what sovereignty is like in action. And it caught Washington off guard. Beyond economics, Nigeria has asserted independence in global diplomacy.
So I'll come to you on this, and this last snippet I just played is interesting if we think about it in the context of what's going on in the world. Ukraine is still raging, the Middle East is now raging, and this state visit really presents a moment for Nigeria to position itself with whatever bargaining chips it has in order to get ahead in the global world order. So, just take all these stories together.
Absolutely. But let me start with the first part of the story around this big entourage. Ministers, government heads of parastatals, governors going ahead to welcome the president and receive him into the country. We have spoken a lot about the fact that it seems largely unnecessary. And don't forget that many of these governors and ministers will also go with their own entourage. And so you have so many people going and you're wondering, what is the function of each of these personalities there to receive the president? Yes, we agree that it's a big event, it's historic, we haven't seen this in a while, in 3 decades. However, we have pressing matters at home. Nigeria is in a state of emergency when it comes to insecurity. The governor of Katsina is there as well to receive the president, and his state has just been attacked by terrorists. We have, a number of people there who have no business, quite frankly, except for the fact that it is just a nice thing to be there, and we need to cut that. We've talked about wasteful spending spendings in this administration. This is, I wish we could put a number as to how much it costs us to attend a state visit that ought to be borne by the British government, and yet to carry our own people. Then there's a case to be made for having an established embassy. If we did, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, alongside staff members of the embassy, Nigerian embassy in the United Kingdom, should be sufficient enough to receive the president alongside some key ministers who will be instrumental to the trade conversations that will be had there. Aside from that, you can't really justify others from going there. And we must end this culture of going ahead to receive the president, which is a lot around sycophancy. It's just really to be there to show face, what's in it for there, and we forget just how much work is being left behind at home when we are abroad doing all these things. So this administration, the president himself had given a directive around the number of people that would go with him on foreign trips. This is obviously broken. The president has talked about the fact that he would cut down the size of his delegation. This doesn't seem to be the case. There's no justification for a number of people who are out there. So on one hand, we're talking about let's end the bye-bye culture at the airport. Now we're not talking about even the receiving and welcoming committee abroad. Not justified at all, especially at this time in Nigeria when things are happening. Then beyond that is the opportunities you've mentioned and Nigeria positioning itself. Earlier I talked about the fact that yes, this is an opportunity. Adefemi had spoken about the £24 million investment by Twinings, Ovaltine, the trade deals that will be signed. But the conversation is around, do we have an enabling environment for these businesses or for investors to find Nigeria as an investor haven? You talk about what's happening geopolitically, and you're absolutely right. Nigeria could very well position itself as a new trading partner where diplomatic conversations or diplomatic relationships have been severed. But we do not seem, unfortunately, to be able to take advantage of these gaps that exist geopolitically for us to take on that role. And whenever we enter deals with powers like the United Kingdom, China, they tend to benefit more from these trade deals. There's a trade deficit where Nigeria is at a disadvantage.